If you're just getting started in voice acting, before you go out and start spending your time and your money on equipment and gear and coaching and your website, wouldn't you like to know ahead of time if you'd be any good at voiceover? Just to know whether someone would actually pay you for your voice. Successful voice actors tend to have certain traits in common. What are they, and do you have these traits? That's what we're going to talk about today in this episode. Welcome back to episode number 29 of the Voice Acting 101 podcast. I'm Jason. It's great to have you here with me today. I hope you are well, and I hope that these podcast episodes are helping you in some way to start, build, and grow your voiceover career. All right, let's jump right into today's question, and that comes to us from Bruce.
Hi, Jason. My name is Bruce, and I'm enjoying your podcast. I'm contemplating entering the business, but my question is, how do I know if I'm any good? People have said I had a face for radio, but no one's ever said I had a voice for radio. I know I don't have Jason McCoy's voice, or James Earl Jones' voice for that matter, but I don't think I have Charlie Brown's teacher's voice either. How can I know if I have a voice that someone would pay to hear?
Great question, Bruce. Thanks for taking the time to send in your audio. So the root of your question seems to be that you're interested in voiceover, but you want to reduce your risk of wasting your time and your money on it if it isn't going to pan out for you, which I completely understand. So how do you get a better idea of whether you'd be good at voiceover? So unfortunately, there is no magic ball that you can look to and it's going to give you an answer and you're going to know for sure. But I do have some thoughts that hopefully you can take in. And then if you answer some of the questions, that's going to give you a better idea of whether voiceover is going to be a good fit for you. And like I said, I completely understand anyone who wants to reduce their risk by slowly testing the waters before you dive in full force. I'm all for starting small and not going into debt and just keeping it simple. And that's kind of what I did when I started. I didn't pay for a microphone until years into voiceover. The first mic I had was an external computer mic, and that was one of the ones that used to come with computers. When you would buy a computer, you would have like an external microphone with it plugged into the soundboard. That was my very first mic. I was able to use it, and I was able to get voiceover work with it. And then later on, I did some production work for someone that they ended up paying me with a used RE20 microphone. So I kind of used that to test the waters. I didn't have to pay for the microphone. I didn't have that expense when I started. But I was able to test it and see, could I get paid for using my voice? And the answer was yes. The good news about voiceover is that it accepts and it needs many and all kinds of different voices, from young to old to high-pitched to low-pitched. If you have a gritty voice to a smooth voice, everything in between. So that's good news, but that also means that there isn't much about your voice that can be considered a good indicator of whether you'd be good at voiceover or not. The only exception to that, I think, would be if you have a speech impairment or maybe a vocal cord disorder or some kind of health issue that would physically limit you from using your voice. Those types of things could hold you back in voiceover if they're not treated properly. But in general, your voice itself, it's not going to tell you much about whether or not you're going to be good at voiceover. That's why even if someone tells you that you have a great voice, that's nice. It may boost your confidence, but it doesn't necessarily give you a better chance in voiceover than someone else who hasn't been told that. Also, something to keep in mind is that if you do unpaid voiceover work, that doesn't really validate that someone's going to be willing to pay you for your voice. You may be good enough for free, but not good enough to get paid to do it. So those are some things. They're not very helpful at predicting your success in voiceover, but they come up a lot for beginners. Things that I would keep in mind and that can help you gauge it better for yourself. The first one is that you won't know until you try. I don't suggest going into it blindly. Instead, I would suggest that you know what's required ahead of time. And that's why I've got this guide, 5 Steps to Voiceover Success. Step 1 in that guide is to decide if voiceover is right for you. And how do you decide? You decide by learning everything you can and becoming as well informed as possible to know what it takes to work in voiceover. And then you're going to know what's coming next. You're going to know what's required of you and whether or not that fits with the idea that you had in mind for voiceover. Now, you don't need to know every detail, but you at least want to know the steps that it's going to take, and you want to start to formulate a plan. The plan I think works best is to learn and then decide whether or not voiceover is for you. That's step 1. Step 2, if it is right for you, if what you've learned, works with who you are as a person and where you want to be in your life, if that works for you and your schedule and all those decisions that you have to make, If it is, then step 2 would be to set up a recording space. Step 3 is to work on improving because you're probably not going to sound that good the first time you get in front of a microphone, so you want to work on improving. Step 4 is to get your demo done. And then step 5 is to start marketing. And that's pretty much the plan right there, the 5-step plan. So the question you want to ask yourself is, how confident are you that you can complete those steps? And if you're unsure, are you willing to learn more about them? I've got that 5 Steps to Voiceover Success guide. I think it's a great place to start, so you can go grab that. It's free. The website address to get it is voiceacting101.com/get started. That's going to give you a better understanding of each of the steps that I kind of touched on. So you know not only what you need to do now, but you're also going to know what the next step is going to be. All right, the second point I want to make is that hard work is always going to beat talent. I just want to point out that, when I started, I was at a young age and I was a pretty quiet kid, but no one ever said to me that I had a great voice and that I should do voiceover. It was never someone else's suggestion. It was because I had an interest in it, so I went after it and I learned everything that I could on the subject. So if you want it enough, and if you're willing to work hard, if you have that in you and you know why you want it to work, that's going to give you a better chance at making it work. And I've seen firsthand super talented people that aren't willing to put in the work and they think that their talent should be enough. They don't end up making it. And then there's other people who maybe aren't as talented as those people, or maybe no one's ever told them that their voice stood out in any way. They are succeeding because they're working hard on the right things, and then they're seeing the results for their hard work. So if you want it bad enough and you have a willingness to work hard, then that's going to be a good indicator that you'd be good at voiceover. All right, and finally, there are 3 traits that I've kind of noticed that I think if you possess, that can be a good indicator of your possible success. So the first trait would be confidence. In the beginning, that can just be confidence in your ability to learn. Like I said, you're going to be learning a lot, so you have to be confident in your ability to learn and your ability to improve day after day. Confidence in yourself to know that you will get there, right? If you put in the hard work, then you will get there. You have to have that confidence in yourself. And then over time, that confidence is going to be turning into a confidence that you can understand direction from clients and you can deliver reads that satisfy your clients. So you need confidence. That's the first trait. The second trait is discipline. As voice actors, we're self-employed. We work from home. There's no real boss to answer to. Not everyone can handle that kind of freedom. There, all around me, all around you, if you're working from home, there's all kinds of distractions that are going to try to take you away from what you should be focused on. So you have to have the discipline to do what you need to do, and that's going to be important to your long-term success. And then the third trait to have as a voice actor would be persistence. A lot of your time is going to be going to auditioning, especially in the beginning, and odds are you won't be booking many of the auditions that you do. So you have to be able to find some joy just in the auditioning process itself. Otherwise, it's going to start to wear you down. And there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but you need to be able to keep pushing through even when you don't feel like it. And you just need that persistence to be able to do that. All right, so in summary, there is no guarantee that someone will pay you for your voice, but you can reduce your risk of wasting time and money by first learning everything you can about what's required on the path to success. Again, you can get that free 5 Steps to Voiceover Success guide at voiceacting101.com/get started. Second, hard work is going to beat talent every time. So are you willing to work hard? That's a question you want to ask yourself. And third, do you possess the 3 traits to help you in voiceover? Do you have confidence in your ability to learn, in your ability to follow direction, in your ability to improve? Do you have confidence in yourself? That's important. Also, are you disciplined enough to focus on what you need to do? And finally, are you going to be persistent when things aren't going as planned? Are you going to be able to push through the tough times? All right, I hope this episode has helped you. Don't forget, if you have a question for an upcoming podcast episode, make sure that you head on over to voiceacting101.com/ask. You can record it. Use anything you want. Doesn't have to be studio grade. You can do it on your phone. I don't care. You can use an external microphone like I used to use in the beginning days. So if you want to leave a question, that's where you can do it, voiceacting101.com/ask. I do appreciate that. Also, before you go, scroll down and let me know in the comments below which one of those 3 traits is your strongest. Is it confidence, discipline, or persistence? Let me know in the comments below. All right, that's it for this episode. I'll talk to you next time. Have a great week. Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of the podcast. If you want to see another video, there's one waiting for you right here, or you can subscribe to the YouTube channel down in the corner. Or if you want to learn the 5 steps to becoming a voice actor, check out this free guide. It's available to download from voiceacting101.com/get started. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you next time. See ya.